Right, hello, everyone. Welcome to a new issue of Shopperall. My name is Romy Greep. Alongside Aisha Connor Gayton, we are editors of our guild newsletter, Shopperall. Today, I have the immense honor of interviewing Toni Reyes, an instrumental part of our health services department, along with just a generally wonderful person. Hello, Toni. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm doing well.
Well, that's good. Thank you so much for making time. For our issue that's upcoming, our theme, continuing this David Bowie obsession that Aisha and I are on, the theme for this issue is the song Under Pressure, which is, I guess, technically a Queen song, but we're calling it a David Bowie song. So, in the light of that theme, we're asking our contributors to consider a couple questions. So, the first one that I have for you, Toni, is if you could give us a little bit of information about how you do your work. Primarily, this idea of what are some skills or resources that you use to work effectively in your position.
Okay. Well, I am a registered nurse. I do have my RN and my public health nurse and also master's in education. So my experience, I think, is the biggest part coming along because I've worked for 58 years, not as a nurse, but it just work itself.
Yeah,
And along those years, I've gained a lot of experience.
yeah,
Aside from medical, actually working with people. So I use my skills. I mean, I tend to go back on my clinical skills as a nurse, using empathy, um, listening,
yeah,
um, eh, not being judgmental, uh, trying to offer comfort,
yeah.
um, and trying to think of some other things that I might say. I think my calmness has been what's carried me through a lot of serious interactions with students
Sure.
and staff. Even in church, I was very calm. I saw a woman having a heart attack,
Oh,
and
gosh.
went over and I tapped her on the shoulder. And I think what I told her was, I'm here to help you. I'm a nurse. I'm not going to leave your side. So they
Yeah,
called 911. Didn't have to do any CPR or anything, but I think just offering my help and being a support next to her. And I think that's the major thing with me. I want to support as many people as I can.
yeah.
I do a lot of investigating and research on resources for our students. Um, I let's see. I just recently, this is something I really was proud of myself. It was a little tiny thing. We had a student come in who spoke only Armenian, and she had a head injury, and I
Dear.
didn't know how to explain what the aftercare was, so I translated it. I went to Google Translate,
Yeah,
used those words, translated, and made sure they were correct, and pictures, photos, graphics to
yeah.
show it. That brought her it kind of prompted her to come back and see us because we wanted follow-up.
Yeah, thank you
I,
so much for sharing. So it sounds like it's this really wonderful mix of your own kind of natural interpersonal skill mixed with, I mean, quite a number of years of just using those skills to help people to be kind and supportive, in addition to your actual technical, practical skills. Thank you so much for giving us that insight. The only other question related to this one is, so you've shared many examples of resources and skills that you do use, and I'm curious, is there any skill or resource that you tried that ultimately didn't work for you? And I'm curious if there is one, why didn't that skill or resource work for you?
um, once, okay, so I had an employee that I had to constantly counsel,
Hmm.
and I was very empathetic with what he was experiencing, but then it was as though I was hitting a wall.
Hmm.
I tried meeting in my office. I tried walking around campus. I tried different settings and explaining it. And then I could feel myself getting a little bit irritated because no matter what I did and offered, it wasn't going to change anything.
Mm.
And that was a disappointment. I
Yeah.
know that ultimately what I see is that person has to make the decision to change.
Yeah.
I can't change them. So that didn't work.
Yeah.
Um, there's been other things jumping to something too quickly. I like to assess things, think about them, and really get some input from others around me. Well, when I make decisions too quickly without thinking about them and looking at different alternatives, it doesn't work for some reason. It turns out like shouldn't have done that. I should have just waited and trusted my own way of doing things.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah,
why
that's
it didn't work.
yeah, that's fantastic. It sounds like a reaffirmation of trusting your gut, which I think is, I mean, even though I'm sorry it didn't work out in those examples you gave, I mean, it sounds like it again, um again reaffirmed your ability to know what you wanted in the way that you wanted it, which is really nice. Thank you so much for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Okay, so the next question I have for you is, is there any skill or resource, even a mindset about your work that might surprise someone who's unfamiliar with your day-to-day?
Yeah, I wrote something down. I think well, I'm not sure if this is my skill, but I guess convincing or really explaining and trying to um, really express how important um, this center is
Yeah,
and how valuable our staff is. I worked in K through 12, and I saw that administrators at K through 12 were interested in just academic test scores,
mm,
things like that, and they couldn't see um, that it's the whole person,
yeah,
spiritually, um, intellectually, whatever that makes up the whole person. And they didn't really I was able to see what a student's home life was, whether they were hungry when they would come in with stomach aches. Um, I I really I'm getting a little stuck here. I'm not sure how much more to explain it other than I used to have food for students that were diabetic that didn't
yeah,
have anything. Um, I wish they knew how important we are and
yeah,
how much our students mean to us. I spent, I think taking the time that we do and going beyond what is actually in our job description,
yeah,
uh, and also how important I never knew this till the student came back and told me, no one has ever sat down with me for this long. I mean, we worked on her insurance problems for a year.
mm,
She would always bring me she was from Sweden. She'd bring me candy from Sweden.
yeah.
But I think just understanding that academics are great and we do want to help students fulfill their goals.
Mm,
Um, but there's other parts that go into the student's makeup.
yeah.
You know, um, I don't know how else to express it. It's hard. I'm a
You're doing a
person
great
that
job.
I am, oh, since you're a leader. And I said, we're a team. I never do
Yeah,
anything on my own unless it's very, very, it's critical.
yeah,
I can act and say, okay, it's after dealing with something like that is when I can feel, okay, that was pretty scary.
mm,
And then I reassess it and
yeah,
think I always remained calm. I think that's one of the main um, I think, assets that I have. And it's hard for me to talk about myself. So I like to be
Yeah.
in the background. Tell me what to do and I'll do it. Let's get you forward because we have a wonderful RN who's wonderful at speaking in front of people and doing different things. And I always put her in I put her in front because she does a lot better than I even though sometimes I can get up and do things like that. But
Yeah. I
um,
mean, I love what you said. I think often, yeah, those holistic approaches to wellness. I mean, there's so much information out there that would 100% back up what you just said, which is academics are not the only picture. And in fact, if we don't take care of the other facets of a student's life, the academics will suffer if they're hungry or thirsty or scared, so I completely understand what you're saying, and I really appreciate that reminder that health services is, I mean, as important, if not frankly a little bit more to the day-to-day of our students to make sure that they're okay, or really anyone that we engage with, right? Other staff or faculty. So I totally hear what you're saying. So I guess the final question is, what's one concern that you have about your work that you wish other people knew either about, period, or just knew more about?
I think it's how important we are to have this, to be on campus
Yeah.
and be available for the students. In the past, I always felt that they only needed us when they needed us. When some crisis would happen, then they bring them down here. We have a student here. I wish they would look at us as part. I always felt like we were a little bit apart from the rest of the departments
Hmm.
because we're not focused on academics, although the work we do to make them healthy will go into their success in academics,
Yeah.
whether it be making sure their blood pressure is under control, whether we have them see our doctors, whether they become diabetic and we teach them about nutrition, um, and also mental health. If they're struggling at home or they don't have a place to live, we always walk our students to the different departments when they need help. I never say it's down the hall and go this way.
Yeah.
Come with me, let me take you.
Yeah.
It doesn't take any more than a few minutes to do that. And
Yeah.
it's so important because then they say, well, this person really cares that I get to where I need to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yes,
that's one of
yes, I completely agree. Often students aren't even really aware of fully what the services that are available to them. And so often the first interface they have is shock. Like, really? I can do that? I can get that? And I'm like, yeah, I'll show you. Let's go do it. Let's go get it. Let's go figure that out. So yes, I'm hopeful that we really turn a corner, especially as we move into what I really think is a transformative next couple years for this campus, that we maybe fully realize the essential integral nature of work like yours, like Crescent's, and all of the other team members. I remember what you said about working as a team. So yeah, I really can't thank you enough for reminding all of our watchers, that's not the word, viewers and listeners about what you do and who you are. So thank you so much for making time for us. Um, the last thing I'll ask you is if anyone has any questions about what you've shared, how can someone get a hold of you?
Well, they can call extension 5190. That's my direct number, or extension 5189. My email is treyes@glendale.edu. Or they can just stop in. I never take appointment. My door is always open. Where I'm here Monday through Thursday from 8 to 5, unless I'm on vacation, and on Fridays from 8 to 2. Now, next week, I'm going to take 2 days off because I think I deserve it.
Oh,
And it's getting,
definitely.
yeah, I mean, I'm trying to get everything together here before I leave. I want it um, accessible.
Yeah,
So if anyone has any questions, I always want to share. I never want to keep things to myself. If I know something, I'm going to share it with someone.
yeah,
I'm really, I, I want to say I never give up, but it really takes a lot for me not to give up.
yeah.
I will push, 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 in a respectful way.
Yes,
I
of
don't want to
course.
put, and the same thing with students when I meet with a student, I can give them all this information and encouragement, and they have to take the step to do it. And I always tell them that it's your choice.
Yeah,
So I'm
yeah.
here if you need me.
Thank you so much. All right. Well, thank you again to all of our listeners, our viewers, anyone who engages with us. Thank you so much again to Toni and frankly, the whole health services staff.
Thank you.
Every single one of you just does such incredible work. If any one of our listeners or viewers has any questions, they can of course reach out to me personally or to Aisha. You can also reach out to our Chaparral email, which is chaparral@glendale.edu, 1P 2Rs. And again, thank you so much for listening. We hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll catch you around next time. All right, thank you so much.
Thanks. Bye.